What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Lineman Life Live. Woo! Had a little issue with YouTube there, getting this thing situated, getting this thing up and cracking. But I do appreciate you guys for being here today, checking out the live stream. Make sure you hit that like button if you haven't already done so. Trying to work my way back up that YouTube algorithm, baby. And YouTube takes more kindly to likes than anything else. Also, share this live stream. Get your friends in here if you can. Let's try and get these numbers jacked up a little bit. Right now, we at 8. Want to see that thing climb. Want to see us grow, climb, grow, everything. Anyways, NFL Week 4. Never a lack of action and entertainment when talking about the occurrences in the football season. You guys know that some things went down this weekend, both in the games, but also in the life outside of the game, per se. You know, obviously you got Urban Meyer and his situation in Ohio, but something that I wanted to kind of jump off with here that really kind of caught me off guard. They reported this today, but apparently this happened last week. The Washington football team, their facility was raided by the FEDS. Facility raided by the FEDS, their head trainer placed on leave. Very, not what you expect to read when you're talking about football headlines. This one was very bizarre, but let's go through this article real quick. I just pulled this off Yahoo Sports, but it goes into some details about what's been going on with the Washington football team's situation. It may not be what we initially expect. It says here, federal law enforcement reportedly raided the Washington football team's Inova Sports Performance Center last week, according to NBC Sports. Washington's J.P. Finlay, Grant Paulson, and Julie Carey. Oh, so they have like a team of investigative reporters looking at this. Says it appears to be related to an ongoing criminal investigation involving head athletic trainer and director of sports medicine Ryan Vermillion. Who has been placed on administrative leave by the team. We got a tweet here from J.P. Finlay. Breaking. Says law enforcement conducted a raid at Washington facility last week. Team says head trainer Ryan Vermillion placed on administrative leave due to an ongoing criminal investigation that is unrelated to the team. Okay, so that's good. Unrelated to the team. Says here, according to Washington's statement, the criminal investigation is unrelated to the team. When asked about the situation at this Monday afternoon media session, Ron Rivera had no additional comment beyond his team's statement. There are a few details at this point. On 106.7 The Fan, Paulson reported that the investigation has been going on since at least training camp over the summer, and that several people on the team have been contacted by the FEDS about the investigation. So players are getting contacted. Players are getting contacted about this. I think I kind of got an idea of what's going on here, or what could be going on here. It says Vermillion, he's been an athletic trainer for 20 years. So 18 of those years with the Carolina Panthers, working under head coach Ron Rivera for 9 of them. Essentially came over with Rivera when he was hired by Washington. Is going into his second season. Paulson finally reported that Vermillion did not travel to Atlanta with the rest of the team for Sunday's game, and that his assistants handled on-field injuries. Okay. So if I'm, reading the room correctly here, I feel like this is likely has something to do with either prescription medications or has something to do with maybe some type of embezzlement, money embezzlement, something like that. I mean, I can't really think of anything. What would a head trainer be getting into that the FEDS raid the facility of the Washington football team? I mean, obviously, if they're raiding the facility, that means that there are things that they think are of value at the facility under his, in his offices. Like the head trainer has a main office. They go, they have a spot where they keep all their files and stuff like that. I'm thinking that this likely has something to do with prescription medication because That is that's something that he would have easy access to. That's something that he would definitely be able to secure in large quantities, because if you know anything about how doctors work when it comes to prescription medications in the NFL and likely in other sports as well, all you got to do is ask. All you got to do is ask, and ye shall receive. You ask them for prescription, whatever it may be, they give it to you. That's never, I'd never had a problem, getting any kind of medication that I wanted. I have eczema, so I get like a special prescription cream to use on my skin whenever, because with my gloves, wearing my gloves, the moisture in it during practice would like make my skin crack when it dried up. And because I have eczema, that would like literally turn my like knuckles into like carpet, like just rough. You know what I mean? So, I just let them know they got me prescription for the medication and made it go right away. Like literally goes away in no time. But again, painkillers, opioids, things that athletes tend to become dependent on because of their dealings with, more pain on a regular basis, chronic pains. This will definitely be a lucrative market. Now think again back to, maybe about 10 or 12 years ago, 10 or 12 years ago, you got a New England Patriots offensive lineman who was arrested by the feds. The feds came to the Patriots facility and they got him, or I guess it was the DEA. The DEA came and got him. This dude was selling like oxys. He had like thousands of pills. And I don't know the details in regards to where he got those pills, but my first initial suspicion would be that he got them from the facility, from our doctor, from the team doctors. He was able to work out something with them to get some. Because that's usually how these things, that's how easy our access is to these kind of drugs. Like it's really not a situation that requires a lot of effort in order to get what you need. Now I don't know if that has tightened up somewhat since when I stopped playing, which was 2014, but definitely in my entire time in the NFL, once you go in there and say you need something, you come back after lunch and it's there. It's in your locker. Prescription bag's in your locker. That's easy money right there. That's easy money right there. So, I definitely, I won't even front. I sold some of the pills I had in my locker to some of my teammates who wanted them because they come around asking to buy them. So, it's not like it's something that I made a habit. I just had some, I had like 3 or 4 little bottles with 2 pills in them each. And, a teammate comes over and asks, hey, you using your painkillers? I'm like, nah, I've never used them. And he asked if he could buy them. Shit, I sold them to him. And I uppriced the hell out of him for it. I'm like, shit, you got to pay me $500 per pill. No problem. So, that is likely the kind of scenario that we're looking at here, or something that deals with this head trainer working with, doctors for some reason like that. That's what I think. That's what I think it is. And, again, in the NFL, as far as your physical, readiness is concerned, they're going to do whatever they got to do to get you ready on the field. So, they need access to those drugs because they're going to need them for a lot of guys to even be able to play. But this is definitely something that I'm keeping an eye on. And as we hear a little bit more, I'm sure they'll be trickling out information as the time comes. After more is released about this, I'll definitely follow up on it. Now, let's talk a little bit about football directly. Tampa Bay, the return. Tampa Bay went to New England. Tom Brady returning to New England for the first time since the New England Patriots won a Super Bowl, their last Super Bowl that they've had since then, with Tom Brady in his last year. And, you know, honestly, people who know me, people who've been on my channel, oftentimes when you hear me say Tom Brady's name, you usually hear it coming after an expletive of some sort where I say, Tom Brady, or, you know, usually it's just that. F Tom Brady, fuck Tom Brady. That's what you hear me say. That's how I feel. That's what I believe in my heart. But every once in a while, the heart can soften. And mine has, because Tom Brady really impressed me with how he carried himself after this game in New England. Now, obviously, here we got a little bit of video footage from him leaving the field after Tampa Bay got the game-winning or had the 17-16 win over New England. They still love him there. We all know it. This is not like I thought I had this pulled up. This is not like you know, a situation where he went back to New England and they booed him and they didn't want to, you know, people got all over him. Was nothing like that. Tom Brady, you know, he's won 7 Super Bowls with, or 6 Super Bowls with the New England Patriots. He's done a lot for that city. That city has ridden the wave of success directly attributed to him. And, you know, for as much as I say fuck Tom Brady, I gotta respect that, because there's, you know, that's he has proven beyond any doubt the kind of player that he is, how good he is. Everybody, whether you like him or hate him, you absolutely respect him. But what I respect more is that is this not the, oh, come on. I had a way to screw up my intro.
Well, other people that got a piece of happiness tonight were these fans.
Yeah, that's not what I was looking for. But I put out a tweet last night, and that tweet basically was saying how much, you know, I do respect how Tom Brady handled the post-game interview when he was asked about all of the feelings he had about coming back to New England. See, the crazy thing about it is that in a situation like that, a lot of times, you know, iconic players such as Tom Brady will actually kind of bask in that moment and soak it in and talk about how it feels and talk about their memories of it and this and that. But I really appreciate what Tom Brady did. And if I can find the video, I will play it. But I have not been able to find it. And I don't see it on here. But I will say that the way he approached this interview, the way that he actually shifted the narrative of the conversation from being about him to being about his teammates, to being about the process that they all go through, that the grind that they all go through to be successful, that is something that is appreciated. Many players, you know, there are many people in football organizations who will go unheard of and untalked about throughout the entire time that organization is experiencing success or experiencing, you know, hardship. Tom Brady, and this is something that is really preached, and I'm not saying that this doesn't happen with other players, but because it certainly does. But, you know, with Tom Brady, a guy who, you know, who has a very good argument, a very hard argument to defeat that he is the greatest, you know, quarterback to ever play football. Very hard argument to defeat, but you can talk about many different things that maybe play into that because, you know, defense is not what it used to be in the NFL for many different reasons. Not because it's just the players, but because of the rules. The rules have made this game an easier game for the offense and a much, much, much harder game for the defense. So, you know, that does factor in, but that's an argument that we can have on another day. You know, the fact that he shifted from every question that really was just trying to focus on him as an individual, the fact that he was able to shift over that focus to his teammates, to the people who don't get talked about, because he knows who he is. He knows what kind of clout he has. He uses that opportunity to give them some shine, which I think is pretty fucking cool. I think that's how somebody in his position, that's what you'd want to hear. Because you don't hear that from people like Michael Jordan even so much. Michael Jordan usually doesn't talk about his teammates unless he's talking shit, unless he took something personal. He's not really that involved in giving them the props or putting some of those guys that helped in the spotlight. You know, which doesn't make him a bad leader or anything of that nature. But in football, there's a special kind of leadership that you associate with that, because you know usually you don't. The media is so focused on the individual when really it takes the team. For better or for worse, it's the team that has to go through the process and go through the struggle to make that happen. And I thought that was cool. I wish I had the video here. I'd show it to you guys and get my shit demonetized. But, you know, it was really a cool moment for me as a lineman, because that's exactly what our lives are like. You know what I mean? That's exactly what our lives are like. We're not getting acknowledged unless we do some dumb shit. So there you go. But Tom Brady gets the win in New England, and definitely, and also NFL's all-time leading passer just passed Drew Brees for that. I mean, everybody kind of knew that was going to happen because Drew Brees is retired, and they were pretty close when he retired. So definitely appreciate that look from Tom Brady, but also still fuck Tom Brady. Now, Super Chat. We got a Super Chat here from Mexican Iron Man for $10. Appreciate that, my brother. He says, hello, brother Uche. Question, what are the tenets of leadership and team building in the locker room? What makes the talented, great players, truly great players, that are also great teammates and leaders? That's a damn good question. I'm not... Okay, so there's many nuances to this. There are many different pieces of the puzzle that have to come together for someone in making them into a leader. Because I do believe that leaders are molded, but they're not molded only in the sport they're in. They're molded through the course of their life. That's a personality trait to me, to a certain extent. You know, to be a leader innately, it's something that has been instilled in you through your principles. Your principles generally kind of set the path for that. Now, it doesn't mean that there's not like just some natural urge for someone to take, you know, to be a leader, to be inspirational, because that there's a little bit of that too. But as far as in the locker room, it's accountability. In the locker room, it's accountability, and it's not accountability. It's not accountability from the times that you're winning games. It's accountability when you're getting the shit kicked out of you. That's where you earn your teammates' respect. You earn your teammates' respect when you're, you know, the most. And I would say that in many cases it's like this. When you're going through periods of adversity, the people who are able to spark others to look at and approach something in a way that, you know, is positive, in a way that kind of sidesteps like the maybe the physical pain of it and the exhaustion of it, and looks past that and strives to actually like squeeze the best amount of potential or capitalize and optimize the best amount of potential possible among, you know, your peers. I think that those guys, the ones who do that, the ones who can do that consistently, are usually the ones who are seen as the leaders. I don't think that one person can pick a leader out of a lineup. Like, the group picks the leader. Like when we have our team captains selected each and every season, they vote on team captains every week. So some guys will be captains one week, or you'll have your permanent captains, and then you'll have guys who are captains every week. So, you know, usually the quarterback is the captain by default to a certain extent. But Also, you kind of put that pressure on a quarterback because he is responsible for the team for the most part. So that pressure to be a leader will always be there if you're a quarterback. So if you don't have those traits necessarily built into you, then you're probably not a quarterback. That's probably a fair assumption. You're probably not at the quarterback position more times than not, because that position is kind of groomed from the very outset to be a position of leadership. So I do think that the difference between great players and teammates, again, it really is a matter of earning your stripes, proving your worth to your peers more than anybody else, because they're the ones who will follow you, even if you don't have a C on your chest. If you're a leader on the team, even if you're not a permanent leader, you'll have guys who you can inspire through your own type of leadership, like offensive linemen, defensive backs, linebackers. There might be a guy in the linebacker group who's not a leader, who's not considered a captain, but he is the leader of that group, and they follow him, and he pushes them. It's really a micromanaged thing that has leaders. There are leaders all over in different positions. There are leaders for every part of the football team. So it really does boil down to, those guys stepping up, because they usually are, they usually are stepping up. They usually are the ones who are put out into the spotlight, at least within the team itself. And it's not usually something you gotta wait on. Somebody says Jay Cutler was not a leader. Yeah, Joel Jay Cutler, old Jay Cutler. I don't really know. I know that I heard he was lazy. I heard his work ethic was not very good. But hey, I never met the guy. I don't know exactly what his situation is. I played against him. Well, we played against him when I was in Jacksonville. So that is that. But yeah, that's my thoughts on leadership. Leadership is really about accountability. Accountability when things are good, but even more so when things are bad. Now, moving on. This is something that I found to be very interesting about this game in particular. Baltimore at Denver. Them squeezing out this win. And a little bit of controversy towards the end when, Harbaugh decided he was going to run the ball to try and to get over 100 yards, to keep the streak of 100-yard rushing games alive for Baltimore. Now, we're in garbage time here. And look, let's be real for a second. Let me give y'all a little bit of info about how this league works when it comes to situations like this. You don't do what Jim Harbaugh did. What he did was some bullshit. And we'll go through this real quick. I'm sorry, John Harbaugh. I keep saying, I mix them cats up. We'll go through this article real quick, but and then we'll look at a quick video clip. But that's like an unwritten rule. Like, if you're beating a team, 40-20, and there's 30 seconds left on the clock, and they don't got any timeouts, or whatever it may be, you don't go after, you don't pad stats up as the winning team. You don't pad the stats up. That's really that's really some bullshit, to be honest. You don't do that. You just really don't. There's gonna be bad blood because of this for a long time. That's the crazy part. But it says here, Baltimore Ravens made history on Sunday's 23-7 win against the Denver Broncos, but it wasn't without controversy. At the end of the game, instead of taking a knee in victory formation, quarterback Lamar Jackson took a shotgun snap and ran for 5 yards. The run gave Baltimore 102 rushing yards, tying an NFL record of 43 straight 100-yard rushing games. According to Mike Kills of 9 News, some Broncos players were livid as they made their way into the locker room. After the game, Ravens head coach Jim Harbaugh said he made the call to go for the record, and he stands by his decision. 100% my call, Harbaugh said. That's one of those things that's meaningful. Harbaugh went on to explain that he had his staff and players in mind when when he made the decision. It's one of those things. I think as a head coach, you have to be mindful of your team and your players and your coaches and what it means to them. He said, it's a very, very tough record to accomplish, and it's a long-term record. He has a point. He has a point. He has a point, but still, dude, you know the rule. You don't do that. You got to get a victory. If you do that, then you're a fucking asshole, and no one will fuck with you ever again, personally. And that's crazy because we had a situation like that when I was in Jacksonville. We were playing at Denver. We were playing at Denver. I'll never forget this. 2008, 2009. It was my first year as a starter. And I mean, this was the drive. I think you guys have heard me talk about this before. This was a drive where we've literally run 36 power like 12 times in a row to go down the field. Literally, like we have to make them spend their timeouts and continue to get first downs. I pulled like 11 plays in a row. Just smashing my body up into the A gap. Boom, boom, boom. You know, it was like head ringing, like probably concussion. And you know, but we got all the way down. Like on the last run, we got all the way down to like they're like 10 or 12 yard line. And we still had like a minute and like 40 seconds left. And they couldn't stop the clock. So instead of it being like a 1 or 2 point game, we could have just ran it again and a few more times and get in the end zone, and we would have been up more points. It would have been better for us, for the look of it, to do that. Now, a little bit different. They're trying to keep a record going. They're trying to keep a streak going. They just tied the NFL record with that. But you know, even being around their 10-yard line with plenty of time to go, we took a knee. We had first down from first and goal pretty much. And we could have just did whatever we wanted just to kind of like give ourselves a little more cushion. We took a knee. 3 downs in a row, 2 downs in a row, and the game was over. It's because that's a rule. Like the game is clearly mathematically the game is out of reach. They don't have any timeouts. If we're in victory formation, they're not going to get the ball. But if we feel like assholes, we could just like run the ball and try and score, and just kind of rub their nose in the shit. You know what I mean? And we took a knee, and we've had that situation against us a few times where a team was like at like our 3 or 4 yard line. They took a knee. That's, you know, and again, he has a point with the record thing, but you can have that record. It's just going to cost you some enemies. You know what I mean? It's going to give you some enemies. And on top of that, you kind of are putting your players, you're exposing them to unnecessary risk. The game is out of hand, out of reach. You have this game. Let's say, for instance, one of your linemen rolls up on the back of the quarterback's ankles while he's getting tackled. What if that blows out Lamar Jackson's knee? What if one of your linemen gets their knee blown out? What if one of your, you know, what if somebody separates a shoulder or something? Now you're in a position where you just injured a player for a record. So, you know, I guess while he does have a point in the grand scheme of things, you are creating unnecessary exposure for your players, and that can lead to disastrous results. But let's continue on. It says here, the Pittsburgh Steelers originally set the record from 1974 to 1977. The Ravens were the first team to rush over 100 yards against the Broncos this season. Denver came into Sunday's game ranked second in the NFL in rush defense with 59.3 allowed a game. That's pretty damn good. Jackson threw for 316 yards and a touchdown and added 28 yards rushing. In the win, Latavius Murray led Baltimore with 18 carries for 59 yards and a touchdown. Harbaugh said that it was more important to get the win over the Broncos, who entered the game at 3-0. So it was more important to get the win over the Broncos. Yeah. So why even jeopardize that by continuing to run a play just to gain yards, just so you can tie an NFL record, which really, NFL record for most rushing yards over, most consecutive games with 100 rushing yards. I mean, is it really that big of a deal at the end of the day? Like, nobody's like taking your headset to the Hall of Fame for that shit. You know what I mean? They'll be more likely to just take a game ball. They'll be more likely just to take a game ball. But he reiterated that he wanted his players and coaches to share in something historic. I'm not going to say that it's more important than winning the game. For sure. It's certainly not, he said. But as a head coach, I think you do that for your players and you do that for your coaches, and it's something they'll have for the rest of their lives. I mean, look, man, I guess I understand, but it's still some bullshit. It's still a chicken shit way to handle it. I mean, that's not how you do it, dude. You knew the game was over. Hey, they got 40. If they would have had one less, that's still historic. I mean, who goes on 44 games? They went 43 games rushing 100 yards. I mean, come on. Okay, that's great. They're not going to forget that because it happened. But let's take a look at this. Vic Fangio, Broncos head coach. Boy, he was hot. My man was hot. Says Broncos head Vic Fangio appeared to be less than thrilled during Ravens' final sequence, rushing to maintain their streak. He's like, you motherfucker! I wonder if they actually said anything after. Hold on. People were getting on his ass too. 90% of people crying, you don't like it, stop them, would be throwing an absolute fit if this was done against their favorite team. And they're either lying or in denial. It's Bush League, but that's what Harbaugh does. Who cares? Your team should have stopped them. Take your L and move along. It's professional football. If he doesn't like it, then stop it. It's easy to say that. It's easy to say that. Here's the thing. I mean, if you're really thinking about this, in that last potential play, everyone's lined up, but is anyone really ready to run a play unless they know they're running it? Now, it is traditional. It's tradition, basically, is what it boils down to. It's not a rule per se, but it's tradition. You don't do that because now the team has no way to catch you. The team has no way to beat you. So it is like an unwritten rule. It's a gentleman's agreement that when it gets to that point and the game is over and you can safely run out the clock without, running another football play, that is the tradition that we follow. Now, what does that mean down the board? That means that you're going to have coaches, coordinators who are not going to call any, particularly strategized play. They're just going to call a base defense, just line up, because they know it's over. They may not even call a defense. They may just tell the middle linebacker, hey, just call a base. They'll just, tell them to just call something out there. And they call a base because they know they're not going to call a blitz. They're not going to call a run blitz because the game is over. Even though we're still in play, it's supposed to be victory formation. So they're not going to call anything that, would threaten the other team because they're not trying to hurt these guys if they're in a victory formation and you bring an all-out blitz. Remember when this happened a few years back? I want to say it was, I don't know. I don't know if it was college or I think it might have been college, but I think it's happened in the NFL too, where it's an offense in victory formation and the game is over and there's no way that the other team can come back. And they rush on defense and hit the quarterback while he's taking a knee. Is that bullshit? Yes, it is. That is complete bullshit. And that will be, that will instantly create bad blood between both the teams and their coaches because it's an unwritten rule. It's an unwritten rule. So that's really, it's kind of funny to watch Vic Fangio go through this, but I get it. It's they both have points. I can understand both sides, but with all that being said, there's a level of I guess integrity and dignity that you have to afford your opponent, regardless of how bad you beat them. And when you disregard that for what John Harbaugh disregarded it for, a simple record that honestly not many people give a fuck about at all, whether they tied it or came up one short, it's pretty much irrelevant. That's still a huge thing that you've done in the micro, looking at it from the micro. But definitely, this is not how you approach a game-ending situation. And John Harbaugh, I bet he wonders why he has bad karma all the time when it comes to playoff games. Well, this could be one of the reasons why when you get in the playoffs, you get your ass kicked. Because karma comes around in a circle. So when it comes back to you, it comes back from behind. It comes from behind and kicks you in the ass. And that's exactly what happened to his teams over the last 2 years. So maybe that's kind of just desserts there. I don't know. But I know one thing. If that motherfucker gets into a victory formation next week, if I'm a defense coordinator, just one time, I'm running an all-out zero blitz on his ass. And then we're going to see what's up. Then we're going to hear him cry and throw his hat and upchuck his headset, and he's going to just throw his glasses off, everything. He's going to go crazy. So we'll see about that. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about the games from last week. I mean, obviously, starting off with my Jags. My Jags, they looked better. They looked like they were playing to win. Now, did they win? No. Why? Well, Cincinnati's better than they are. Better coached, better disciplined, and they were able to come back and get the win. I really thought Joe Burrow was looking really nice. I really did think Joe Burrow is going to be he's going to be a superstar in this league. I believe it because he has the attitude and he has the skill set. I mean, he just needs for the Bengals to not fuck this up. Give me some good players. Give me some offensive linemen, which, to be fair, that offensive line did a pretty decent job against Jacksonville. Now, Jacksonville's got like the 30th ranked defense in the NFL, but hey, they're still professionals. But, Jags are not looking good. Urban Meyer even made sure of that further with his antics over the weekend. But you never know. That might be the catalyst that actually makes him focus on, the task at hand and actually put some effort into fucking coaching this team to get a win. And I'm not saying he hasn't put any effort into it, but he's been acting a little bit like a bitch, a little bit like a baby about this team, being heartbroken and devastated after that loss. No, you should have been praising your team and telling them this is the first step, man. This is the first step to us getting over this hump. We didn't win the game, but I saw a ton of improvement out there. I saw guys who were flying around. I saw guys who were playing with emotion. I saw guys who were putting it out there on the line late in the game, trying to give ourselves a shot to win it. So I'm not going to, harp on the game itself and what the fact that we didn't win, but the team that we started with 3 weeks ago and the team that we have right now are two different teams, and it's for the better. So we're going to take another step next week. We're going to come in a day early and do a little bit of extra film so that we can get the mental side of the game down and sharpen that up even more because we know how to tackle. We know how to hit. We know how to run. We'll work on those with our routine throughout the week. We'll come in earlier, though, and we'll do some more film work because we need it. We need to get in the film room. We need to be able to out-strategize the teams that we play against because we don't have necessarily all of the positions that they have where you have, game changers. But we have guys who can be consistent, so let's do that. That's how I would have approached it. But, you know, he decided he was going to stay in Ohio. Decided he was not going to fly back with the team, which says something to me. That says something to me. That really does. You know, I thought about that, you know, and I thought it was their bye week. That's why I reacted the way I did in the video, in my reaction video to the Twitter, the viral video that came out on him on Twitter, was because I thought they were on their bye week. I really did think they were on their bye week. And because there was no reason why he should be in Ohio unless he's there on the bye week where you get the weekend off and all this and that. But they're not on their bye week. They got Tennessee coming up next Sunday. So he should have been fucking back in Jacksonville that night. And on the next day, they review the film and they start game planning for Tennessee. You get a couple more days to game plan. That's what he should have been doing. That's what he should have been doing. So, you know, he came out with his apology and he's like, oh, you know, it's not me, this and that. You know, okay, cool, whatever, motherfucker. You tell that to your family because those are the ones you got to talk to about that. What we got to talk to you about as a football team is that you need to be your ass here. We ain't even off. We're not even off, bro. Be your ass here and let's get ready to take on these Titans because what you don't know is that these Titans have embarrassed the Jaguars for the last 3 years when they step on the field with them. Embarrass them in the worst kind of way with 90-yard touchdown runs plus from Derrick Henry. So this is actually a game that we need to be physically ready to take on because it is going to be a monster task, especially when this Tennessee team is coming off of a loss to the New York Jets. This is going to be a very pissed off, a very hungry, and a very rabid Tennessee Titan team. And they are going to let us hang ourselves if our coach can't even get his ass in town to be ready to get ready to start game planning, you know, the very next day after they just had a loss on Thursday night. So, you know, the more I think about it, the more it just kind of exhibits that maybe Urban Meyer is just not an NFL head coach and he shouldn't be one if that's the case. Because that in and of itself, the fact that he decided not to fly back with the team, I mean, let's think about this for a second. Just think about this for a second, guys. You are Urban Meyer. You have multiple national titles. You've been a head coach everywhere you've been at. You've taken these college teams to prominence. You get in the NFL. It's a whole new experience. Not going as well as you like. And after your team's best game of the season, their best outing of the season, a time when really you can actually spark something within them if you know, because you can push them to look past the loss, and you can spark something in these guys to allow them to start to elevate their game. Because really, you know that you can't win this season. Not a lot. You're not going to win a lot of games. It's not going to happen. But you can squeeze and you can optimize the potential of so many guys through a period where you have to face adversity. You can do that. And you can find out who the core guys are going to be on this team. Because this roster is going to flip. It's going to flip. There's no doubt about it. It's going to flip. So Urban Meyer has exhibited that he doesn't truly have the heart or the will to be an NFL head coach because it requires a lot more than just having the best recruiting class every year. Having blue chip recruits on your roster when you get there all over the place. That's not how the NFL works. This is literally a building project. And it's how well can you build your team and how long can you keep them together? That's the objective. Daily Donkey, yeah, no, Daily Donkey salty dabs. No, you're right. You're right. When you don't get on the plane, and a lot of players aren't going to realize he wasn't on the plane because they get on before he does, so they wouldn't even know that he's not on the plane. But if you get on the plane and you know that your head coach is not riding back with y'all and he's going to stay in town to hang out for the rest of the weekend, I mean, yeah, I would lose respect for that cat. I would lose some respect for him. Definitely. But back to this. Washington beats Atlanta. Atlanta, it's over for the Falcons. I mean, it is over for the Falcons. This is Overreaction Monday, and that's all I can say about them. Washington, I mean, I'm not even really going to give you too much props for that because they're garbage. Buffalo fucking shut out Houston 40-0. Man, I don't think I've seen a score like that in a long ass time. Josh Allen was good for my damn fantasy team. He didn't score as many points as I thought he would on my fantasy team, but this week. But yeah, I'm liking that. Detroit loses to Chicago. I gotta say, Justin Fields looked pretty good against Detroit, against the Detroit Lions. He looked pretty good. Should he be the starter? No. Give it back to Andy Dalton. Now he's got a taste. Let him get a taste. And when Andy Dalton's healthy, sit his ass down. Because, again, to me, at the end of the day, you having him out there this season, in a season where you're not going to a fucking Super Bowl, let's just be real, you're not going to a Super Bowl, and there's a good chance you're not going to there's a more than good chance you're not going to the playoffs. Don't wait. Do not allow any part of him to be chipped away at in a year that, if you're being real with yourself, is not going to pan out. You know this. You're rebuilding without rebuilding. Your first free agency pick should be an offensive lineman. Your next free agency pick should be an offensive lineman. Your first draft pick should be an offensive lineman. And then you can start looking at other positions, because that's what you need for this franchise to move forward. If you're going to move forward with him, he needs to be protected. Don't get it twisted. The Detroit Lions, they ain't shit. Not what you're going to face in the future with this team trying to take over the NFC North. No, you need to preserve him. Period. That's all there is to it. Now, this game I was very, very interested in. This game turned out to be a very good game, and I got to give props to both teams. They both look good. The Cowboys look legit now. They back to being legit in the NFC East. Hey, that's not going to be it's not going to be hard for them to win that division. Let's just put it like that. But definitely thought that Sam Darnold this guy is just, this kind of works against the old trope that, the coaches, make decisions based on the players. And it's usually if the player's struggling, it's because of the player. But Sam Darnold was truly, truly blessed to be let the fuck up out of New York, because the cycle of disastrous play out there continues. Even with the win, it's still not looking good at quarterback for the Jets. Now, Sam Darnold coming to Carolina, and what many would have said before the season, this is do or die. If he goes one season and doesn't show significant improvement in Carolina, then he's a bust. That's literally what it was going to be. That's what it was going to be. And the dude is balled out this year. He is balled out this year. He looks good. He looks confident. He's running in touchdowns. I think Carolina is in safe hands with him. He's a more traditional quarterback, which means he's going to need protection. But I've watched him stand in the pocket and deliver some throws that he took shots on, and he delivered strikes. You can't ask for more from a quarterback. A young guy who's been through a lot of trauma. Let's be real. He's been through a lot of trauma. And he was fortunate enough, and honestly, guys, this doesn't happen for a lot of quarterbacks who were in the position he was in. Doesn't happen. He's lucky. He is very fortunate that he got out of New York, and Carolina picked him up, and with the trade, and it was literally the best thing that could have ever happened to him in his life. Because how you think Ryan? I mean, look at Ryan Leaf. We see what happens to a cat who gets labeled a complete bust, being drafted as high as he was. Look at Ryan Leaf. Look at Jamarcus Russell. Those guys' lives are affected by that, like negatively. Their lives are truly affected by that. So, it's really a good situation for him. The Cowboys were looking good. Ezekiel Elliott is starting to actually play like he played before he got paid money. And Amari Cooper needs to, he needs to bolster it up a little bit. He wasn't really hitting on my fantasy points like that, and I need some more out of you, cuz. 19 points? No, I need like 25 from you. Come on. Anyways, Indianapolis beats Miami. Didn't see that coming, but yeah, I kind of did. Jacoby Brissett at quarterback, not really. Miami's it's just not going to happen for them this year. It's not going to happen. I told you guys, you get 4 weeks into the season, at 4 weeks where your team is at and where you're going. And you can already see the divide between the teams that are actually competing to be playoff contenders and those that aren't. It's clear as day at this time. But this wasn't a game that I think many expected the Colts to just walk away with, but there's just too much going on with Miami to really have expected them to be able to just come out and win the game, even though they were at home. It didn't really matter. Man. Miami. What's going on, Miami? Shit. They might be done. I think they're done for the season. I think they're done. Cleveland and Minnesota. This game was actually closer than I thought it'd be. I mean, they were only -1 here, but I thought that this would be a bigger, a more lopsided game, just because Cleveland's defensive line has been playing so well. Their defensive line's been playing so well. Offense has been clicking for Cleveland, but they haven't been as lethal, I believe, as they were last season so far. But they'll get there. Their running back tandem is still good. I kind of wish I had Kareem Hunt, because Nick Chubb ain't getting me shit on the fantasy points right now. I don't know what the hell is going on with him, but he ain't getting me nothing. He ain't getting me nada. See, here we got Road Rager. 199 Super Chat. Road Rager says, what are your thoughts on Urban and the USC rumors? USC rumors? He's not going to USC. USC needs a head coach right now. He can't do it right now. I mean, he can, but he won't. I mean, because if he does anything and leaves Jacksonville like abruptly, he'll probably get sued by Jacksonville. But also, you would never, in your life, you can never even call an NFL team or office again in your life. Like Petrino, Saban, they can never call up to the NFL for anything. They can never. Now, we'll take your players. We'll draft them. But don't you ever call us for shit. Because when you just dip on teams at that level of football, you have literally put yourself in a black book. You have no credibility whatsoever. So I don't think the USC thing is going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen. But Minnesota very easily could be 3-0. Could have been 3-0 before this game. They could have easily been there. They had a couple of hard losses. Cleveland's been playing well, but they haven't been playing as lights out as they were last year. But they've been doing all right. So I'll let them live. Minnesota. This next game for them is going to be it's going to be the make or break for their season. If they don't win, they're done. They're done. Another no-win team pulling one out their ass. The New York Giants, Saquon Barkley, in overtime, up the right side A gap, breaks a tackle, scores to win the game. Saquon is feeling pretty confident, I'm sure now. I'm sure he's feeling way more confident now, getting in there, his first week back from his ACL tear. He looked a little bit like he looked like he wasn't trusting it. He wasn't being as dynamic as we're used to seeing. But in this game, he showed some more of that. He's been showing little flashes here and there. But this run that he made into the end zone during overtime, it was a good damn run. It was a damn good run, and it tested that body. It tested the strength of that quad to support that knee, and it came through and he did well. And I'm happy for him because it's hard to come back from those more mentally, I think, than it is physically. I think mentally you have to be able to defeat that. You have to be able to defeat that voice in the back of your head that's telling you don't go too hard on it because you might hurt it again. You know what I mean? It takes getting past that point to really give yourself an opportunity to actually just play it 100%, to be 100%. But the Saints are showing some inconsistency. Obviously, Jameis Winston regressed after that first game, but they haven't really had a situation where the quarterbacks have just been throwing lights out. I mean, they have Taysom Hill as well. Taysom Hill, I mean, he's a utility quarterback, so it's a little bit different. But both of them are kind of similar in that they just don't produce as much as you would like. I think still that Jameis Winston has a better chance of being that guy than Taysom Hill does for New Orleans. But New York gets their first win, and also New York Jets. So both New York teams who both had no wins, both get their wins against teams from the South. So Tennessee Titans somehow fuck this up. I can't believe it. This bum, where is he at? This bum at quarterback for the Jets still throwing picks like it's his business. And these cats somehow ended up winning the game after they lost the turnover battle. That's a rarity in the NFL. You don't usually have guys win after they, fuck off the ball multiple times. But this is going to create a frenzy for these Tennessee Titans. Because now, just when they thought that they had kind of solidified their dominance again as far as the AFC South goes, and just as far as being perceived to be a contender, it's right back in question again. It is right back in question. Now you lose to a team that has no wins. You guys sure you're ready to be a playoff team? You guys sure you're ready to go to the Super Bowl, to try and get to the Super Bowl? That's what's happening right now for Tennessee Titans. And Mike Vrabel knows exactly how to use that as motivation. So what better way to find your motivation and to find your confidence than to have to play the Jacksonville Jaguars the next week? These boys are going to be coming, and where's the game at? I think it's in Duval too. Let me see. I'm pretty sure it's in Duval. Let me find it real quick. Oh, boy. Let's see here. Oh, Las Vegas and Chargers game has been delayed. Must be weather. Must be weather. Let's see. Week 5. Yep, they're going to Duval. They're going to Duval. Duval. Yo, Jaguars, get your ass ready. Because these cats are coming in and they're going to try and hang 50. They're going to try. They have something to prove. They have to prove that they're contenders right now. So they have to come into Jacksonville in an away game and they have to blow y'all out the water. They have to blow us out the water. So Urban, my man, you ain't no rookie no more. It's week 5. Get your shit together. Get it together and get wins. Because these boys, they're going to be using y'all as freaking paper maches for this shit. They're going to be cutting y'all up when they step into Jacksonville if y'all ain't ready to play. And we already know y'all got a little phobia of Derrick Henry right now. Derrick Henry been killing them Jags every year. Every year he been killing the Jags. My God. Woo! Anyways, Kansas City, they beat Philadelphia. I don't think anybody's surprised with that. Philadelphia's garbage. We all kind of knew they were, but we just couldn't say it immediately because they still had a win and their record was 500 or was 1-2. But you know, you find out your true mettle when you go up against these Chiefs. Now the Chiefs lost last week, but hey, we know that they're gonna be all right. We know they're not gonna have a losing record. We know that. And the Eagles can't say the same for them. So, yeah, definitely not something that surprised me. Kansas City, they're going to be all right. Now, this is one I did not expect. I did not expect Arizona to go into SoFi Stadium. Or Sophie, whatever the fuck it's called, and beat the shit out the Los Angeles Rams. Woo! They smacked these boys all around the place. They played a physical game. Physical game. Didn't necessarily expect that, but, you know, these are teams that are fighting for the division. This is a divisional game. Divisional game. So you have to be ready. You have to be on point. There is no advantage in a divisional matchup. Those are generally tight games, or those are generally, they're generally tight games, but they're also supremely important, obviously, for the playoff, for the postseason picture. This puts them in the lead of the division. Arizona. Now, this is a kind of a repeat of what we saw last year. So you got to be careful. Last year, people were preaching about, they beat the Seahawks. They almost beat the Seahawks. But people, they were coming into that game against the Seahawks undefeated. Everybody kind of felt like this was their coming out party. And, from there, we watched them drop like their next 2 or 3 games in a row. And then it started getting ugly for them. But there is definitely something to talk about when Arizona clears the Rams. And this is the Rams team that is stacked on offense and defense, and they cleared them by 17. That's crazy. We got a super chat here. RC from NYC for $5. RC, what's up, man? He says, what's up, Uche? What's up? What's up? Oh, look, he says, what's up, Uche? What's up, O-line? What's up, chat? Hope everyone is good. G-Man put up the dub, and now we got the Cowboys next. Let's go! No, man, you guys, I actually think, again, because this is a rivalry and it's a divisional game, I think that this is going to be a close one. I really do. I think that win, getting that win against, a team that has a win, and they got that win as an away team on the road. That's going to be something that gives this team a massive boost. Giants are going to start looking a little bit different, I think. They're going to start looking a little bit different. I'm not saying they're going to be winning shit, but they're going to look a little different. All right, next up, Seattle. Seattle smacks up on San Fran. Jimmy Garoppolo's hurt. I think he had a calf injury, so he's going to be out for a while. Calf injuries take a long time for guys to recover from. That is a hard injury to recover from immediately. So, Niners are going to be in Trey Lance's hands moving forward, I would assume, at least for the next couple of weeks. And, he played fair. He played fairly decent in his time against Seattle. He wasn't terrible at all. But Seattle, again, another team that we kind of they were ready to be counted out because they really were playing in uncharacteristic ways. They were not characteristically playing well at all. They weren't. And San Fran has actually kind of been on the uptick. They've been showing consistency. They've been playing solid D. And, again, the away team comes into another team's territory and gets the win. They pull it out 28-21. I said, for the Seahawks, I always feel like they're going to be considered the class of that division until someone else wins the division. And no one else has won the division but them. So that's really all it boils down to. I will wait until further data is available before I make any predictions on their future. But, at the end of the day, the team with the most experience is Seattle. So Seattle might be the team that just continues to flex when it's absolutely necessary. And, that will keep them at the top of the division. There's a decent chance of that. But good game for them. All right. Baltimore and Denver, we kind of talked about that. Denver lost Teddy Bridgewater to a concussion, so clearly that dramatically affects the offense immediately. And they ended up getting stomped out. Unfortunate for them, but that is just kind of how shit happens in the NFL. One bad injury can affect the team's ability to really even function. And that, I think, goes to show how much Teddy Bridgewater is actually needed for a team like the Denver Broncos. They need a quarterback like him who can manage the game, who can make some plays. Maybe next year or the year after, it might be Aaron Rodgers. I know That's Good Sports he's always looking down that alleyway. But Baltimore had a well-deserved win there. They put the work in. The injury was unfortunate, but that's just what happens. Now, Green Bay at home against Pittsburgh. Oof. I never thought Pittsburgh had a chance in this game, and they didn't look like they had a chance. Pittsburgh is objectively bad right now, my opinion. They're objectively bad. They have no running game, even though they have a great rookie running back who shows you, he carries a lot of the load right now as it is. But they don't have an offensive line that can actually run block with any kind of downhill mentality. So, all their run blocks are they're standing straight up with their defender, and they're just at the line of scrimmage. As a good running team, a good running team has to be able to block guys downhill, move them off the line of scrimmage, 1 to 2 yards off the line of scrimmage. That way, it gives your running back the ability to really sell and manipulate the second level with the linebackers more when you have space to work with, moving up the field. And when you don't have that, we don't have that room, that space for a running back to bleed the linebackers. Then bleeding the linebackers means to make the linebackers commit to downhill and then reverse direction on them, like a cutback, or a jump back, something like that, to go to the space that they vacate because they came downhill. So, that's just not what Pittsburgh. This is not something that Pittsburgh's never been known as a team that just passes the ball. They're a team that literally has been molded for decades behind the principles of running to create the pass game. And that's something that is just that's kind of fallen by the wayside over the last 4 or 5 years for Green Bay. Ever since they lost Pittsburgh. Ever since they lost Le'Veon Bell, they just don't have a running game. They have not had a running game at all. It's just literally just it's nothing. They have nothing. I think that's something that they're going to have to come to they're going to have to come to terms with the fact that they need to be a running team as they've always been that complements that running game with the pass game. Until they do that, until they can come to that reckoning, then we're going to continue to see scores like this. And Juju is looking like he's not really – he's looking like he's on his last – he's out of here after this one for sure. I mean, Green Bay, we all know Green Bay's story. We laughed at them in week 1, but we knew in our hearts they were going to blow some shit up, and they're blowing shit up now. So kudos to them. And we got, obviously, Tampa Bay, New England. Tampa Bay wins this game, but if I'm being honest, this is a scenario in which Tampa Bay wins the battle, but it appears that New England may have won the war. Why do I say that? I say that because Mac Jones looks pretty damn good. For a rookie, he looks like he's a little bit ahead of the curve right now, which is good. He makes good decisions. He's not mobile, so, I mean, it's not like it's anything. It's not like you expected to have a mobile quarterback. You haven't had a mobile quarterback the last 20 years. So, he looks like he could be a successor to Tom Brady in New England. And I mean, it had that feel watching the game. It had that feel like this kid is going to be like Tom Brady. He's going to fucking be like Tom Brady. And I fucking hate it. I hate it. Oh my God. Oh. I see somebody in here. Tampa Bay secondary. Leon. Tampa Bay secondary sucks. Check down Charlie. Hey man, check downs work, bro. I remember one game. In Jacksonville. Oh my God. Dave Garrard checked down to Maurice Jones-Drew like 6 plays in a row. And then like each check down, we got like 6-7 yards each check down. I'm just like, they're just gonna keep letting us do this? They keep playing that cover 3 and he just keeps checking that mug right down. Shit. But yeah, I was impressed by Mac Jones, but I was also slightly pissed that this motherfucker doesn't even realize how good of a situation that he currently is in New England. He could very well, if he continues to, grow and impress, he very well could end up being the next Tom Brady, which would piss me the fuck off. It would. How can we get the number 1 pick, but our shit is sorry? You know what I mean? But this bum is about to go start another dynasty over there. Come on. Shit. But, it was a good game. Obviously, one of the guest of honor was the quarterback for the other team in Tampa, Tom Brady. A lot of love still there in New England. Obviously, he brought y'all 6 championships. You better love him, no matter what color he's wearing. You better love him. But definitely was an interesting matchup to watch. It's kind of like coming of, the old guard and the new guard competing on the same field. So I thought it was cool. And New England's got something to look forward to, at least in Mac Jones. Now, tonight, and currently just started as I'm looking at the time here. No, it was actually delayed. I'm sorry. The game was delayed because of lightning and thunder. Las Vegas Raiders, Los Angeles Chargers. If you've been watching my channel at all, you know that I am big hyped on Justin Herbert and the Chargers. I think that this is a franchise that if they can do shit the right way, they might see a Super Bowl title coming in the next 5 to 10 years, depending on how quickly they develop. Because the guy they have at the quarterback position, he is money. The kid is money, and he's confident. The kid is money. So build around them, keep building around them. But definitely, I'm big on the Chargers. This game, I think they win this game. I think the Raiders are, even though they're 3-0, they got to win 3 more games before I actually believe they're legit. They got to win 3 more in a row. They got to go 6-0. They go 6-0, they're legit. Because I've seen this before out the Raiders. I've seen this. I know where this leads. Because it just means the more they win, the closer they are to the cliff that starts their losing streak. so, you know, definitely going with the Chargers on this. Las Vegas, for me, it just never sounds right saying Las Vegas. Like, Oakland is the only thing that sounds right with calling these cats the Raiders. Oakland Raiders. I mean, hell, Los Angeles Raiders even sounds better. Las Vegas Raiders. It's weird. It's weird for me to keep saying that. It really is. Really is. But that is my, you know, these are my overreactions. I might be a little bit over the top on these, on some of these calls here, but, you know, that's what we do on Mondays. We overreact to shit. So if you are new to the stream, I appreciate you being in here. I am Uche Nwaneri, your observant lineman, and this is Lineman Life Live. And I just got done going through all of the week 4 scores, giving my thoughts, quick reactions. And now we're going to move on to something that I think, to end this off with, to end the stream with, is something that personally I feel I want to talk about, because this is the kind of shit that annoys me when people who claim to not to want to talk about things like politics and sports take it upon themselves to just go ahead and interject and discuss other people who are athletes and who are sports figures, to discuss them in a political way. So, Nick Adams, whoever the fuck this guy is, I have no idea. I don't care. What is he? What does he do? Best-selling author endorsed by endorsed by President Trump. Founder, president of One Flag USA, presidential appointee, Australian by birth, American by choice, thalassophile, whatever the fuck that is. I don't know. I don't care. Australian by birth. So you're an Australian. You're not an American. American by choice. Hey, if it says it on paper, but when you open your fucking mouth and say dumb shit, you're not an American to me. Not you just came here. You live here, but you ain't from here. So, and I might be a little hypocritical in saying that, but I don't give a fuck, because he's coming at people that he don't have no reason to come after. Nick Adams says Richard Sherman was charged with 5 misdemeanors. Richard Sherman was charged with 5 misdemeanors, including resisting arrest and DUI. Now he's starting for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tim Tebow is a national champion, Heisman-winning quarterback, who's also a devout Christian. And the NFL has blackballed him. Boycott the NFL. I do believe I quote tweeted this. Let me see if I'm in here. It's probably too far down at this point, right? So this guy decides that this is the hill he wants to die on, right? This is the hill you want to die on? Is it Nick Adams, Australian by birth, American by choice? Then on top of that, oh shit, look at the taco meat. Taco man. So he follows this up because clearly that went viral because it was ridiculous what he was saying. It's not a good comparison for many reasons. But this is Nick Adams saying, "I stand by everything I previously said about Tim Tebow and Richard Sherman. The NFL lifts up its anti-American criminals and tears down patriotic Christians." So let's hear what this fuckboy has to say. Shall we? Okay.
Hey guys, Nick Adams here. Look, I understand that I'm trending on Twitter right now.
Was I close? Was I close? I feel like I was close. I feel like I was close with that accent. Let's hear it again.
G'day guys, Nick Adams here. Look, I understand that I'm...
G'day guys. G'day guys. Nick Adams here.
trending on Twitter right now. Something that I said about Richard Sherman and Tim Tebow.
Richard Sherman and Tim Tebow? This dude is blimey. Crikey.
I stand by it 100,000%. I'm exactly right. Richard Sherman, Kareem Hunt, all of these other celebrated players in the NFL, they have criminal records.
Let's keep going. I'll hold on to it till we get done.
5 misdemeanors, apparently. This Richard Tricky Dicky Sherman guy. 5 misdemeanors. And then you've got the most upstanding American citizen imaginable, great Christian, tremendous human being, Tim Tebow. But oh no, there's no place in the NFL for Tim Tebow. Oh, absolutely not. But these other cretins, these other people, oh, we're going to throw the full weight of the NFL behind them. What a crock. What a pile of hot, steaming excrement, if I have ever heard it. I stand by the tweet. Tim Tebow is exactly the kind of person that's needed in the NFL. Not Kareem Hunt, not Richard Tricky Dicky Sherman with 5 misdemeanors and 55 probably unidentified misdemeanors. We need people like Timmy Tebow. He's a man, he's a machine, he's a Christian, and an unbelievable talent. So, remember, boycott the NFL, boycott the political correctness, the wokeness, and the outrageous double standard when they don't support people like Tim Tebow, but they roll out the red carpet for the crims. Goodbye and God bless America.
Look, what can I say? What can I say, Nick? Nick, what can I say, mate? Well, let's start with this. Tim Tebow fucking sucks. You think they let motherfuckers in the NFL because they're just good people? He sucks. He can't play quarterback. He can't play tight end. He can't throw a football. He sucks. That's what it boils down to. Period. He's garbage. Richard Sherman, let's take a look. Yeah, 5 misdemeanors. You know what else he got? 5 Pro Bowls. You know what else he got? A Super Bowl ring. A wealth of experience. A Stanford graduate. He's an intelligent individual. Tim Tebow went to the University of fucking Florida. He won a national championship in Florida in college. Well, you know what happened to his coach who won national championships in college? He's in the NFL right now and he fucking sucks. So, he's here now, but he may not be here long because he sucks. Tim Tebow was a first-round draft pick, and he sucked. The only thing anybody can ever say about Tim Tebow in the NFL is the one fucking pass that he threw, a 5-yard slant versus 0 coverage. Sorry, Pittsburgh Steelers. But he's a fucking objectionably terrible football player. Who gives a fuck if he's Christian? No one. Nobody who makes decisions because they wouldn't give a fuck neither. Nobody gives a shit whether he's got a criminal record or not. But I can guarantee you one thing, he ain't perfect because he sucks at football. So why the hell should anybody give 2 shits about what your fucking chunky fat ass taco meat having Aussie crocodile eating motherfucking bullshit talking righteous, more righteous than thou ass has to say about anybody when the simple fact that these 2 guys are not comparable in any way on the athletic sphere completely shuts down any point you're trying to make. They're not even comparable. Richard Sherman was a better college player than Tim Tebow is in the NFL. He was a better college player. He would have been a better NFL player in college than Tim Tebow was in his years in the NFL. Tim Tebow got to bounce around to 5 different teams after being a first-round pick. 5 different teams. First off, how was he a first-round pick? That's one question. If Eric Crouch, the quarterback of Nebraska, back in 2002, couldn't be a first-round pick with being the kind of quarterback he was, running the ball, because he couldn't throw that well either, but I kind of feel like he threw better than Tim Tebow did. He was a 3rd-round pick. Why should Tim Tebow be a 1st-round pick? Tim Tebow was a 1st-round pick. Tim Tebow was garbage his entire time in the NFL. And he was too arrogant to accept that maybe he shouldn't come into the NFL playing quarterback. Maybe he should think about whether or not he actually wants to be successful and stop trying to plaster himself as a quarterback that he is not. So what does the Bible say about people who are arrogant? People who think too highly of themselves at one position to recognize that there are different paths to success for them. What does the Bible say about them? I'm sure there's a scripture in there somewhere. I don't read that shit, so I would not know. Anyways, this guy's a clown. Everything he says here is utter bullshit and nonsense. His entire perspective is nonsense because he's looking at what a guy has done in a moment of weakness in his life where he made a bad decision and he fucked up. Yeah, nobody's denying that. Richard Sherman is a human being. That can happen. That does happen. It happens to everybody. But there is no doubt that he is far better for the NFL than Tim Tebow could ever be. Tim Tebow will never play in the NFL again, and he knows that. Tim Tebow has been given a chance to be in the major leagues, to play MLB baseball, and he ain't even good in, like, fuck him. Like, nobody gives a fuck. He ain't good in baseball neither. Like, come on, man. You're playing AAA. Don't nobody give a fuck. This dude's a fucking bum. Some of y'all motherfuckers need to chill on this Tim Tebow shit because he's garbage. I don't give a damn about his intangibles, okay? That's all good and well in college where he had clout. And on the pro level, he ain't got it. He ain't never had it, and nobody ever bought into him, period. And that's just the end of the story. So let's just let that die. And Nick Adams, if you believe so much in Tim Tebow, go start a football league so he can sit on your face while he throws ducks 10 yards down the field. Anyways, that is going to be it for me in the Slime and Life live stream. Appreciate you guys so much for being in here. You guys have been great. Do me a favor, on your way out, hit that like button if you haven't already done so. And if you are new to the stream, if you're new to this thing, hit that subscribe button as well. And, hey, appreciate you guys. Wednesday, we're doing the Tier Maker Week 5 predictions. I will have Justin Blaylock on here with me and Urinating Tree and 5 Points videos. So make sure you're here for that. Hit that notification bell so you get reminded when I do put up the reminder for the live stream so you get notified. But until then, I hope everyone has a wonderful Monday evening, Monday night, and I will see you all again on the next one. Peace.